The only reason I'm on social media is because of the podcast. And the only reason I started a podcast was one of those things that came out of the pandemic. Like I wasn't interested. I hated social media. I'm not a social media guy. This is why it's been so hard for me. That's why it's taken so long. It's why I've had to put so many pieces of content out here because I don't know what people like. So it literally is just me putting myself out here. Hey, this is me. This is what I like. These are the things I'm interested in. Yes, I like science. I like figuring out how things work. I like explaining things. I like noticing patterns in society and explaining my version of what is actually happening. And if you guys like it too, then you're welcome to join. And that's essentially how I did it. And now I got a following. It's crazy. Man, when I started, I think everyone would have called me crazy because I'm not a social media guy. You have to be authentic and the right people will follow. Yeah, that's true. But it is a grind. It is absolutely a grind. It's going to take a long time because you have to go. Here's the funny thing about social media. You have to go through the masses to find your people. You have to go through the masses to find your people. And the masses are not going to understand what you're doing. They're not going to get you by being authentic, especially if you're weird or you're interesting in a way that most people aren't familiar with. If you're different, especially artists and creative types really struggle with this. I have this like safe appearance here, but then as soon as I open my mouth, people are like, oh, okay, he's edgy for sure. The way the algorithms work is it goes through the masses. And so you have to basically stack up, slowly getting people one by one. And that's essentially how this started. I've never done any promotion. No one's ever given me clout. Literally, it's just me putting content out there, and one by one, every video would be pushed to a small cohort of random people, most of whom didn't mess with the content I was making. But there was a small percentage of them who did. And then it got to a point when you get lucky sometimes where you do appeal to the masses, but then they look at your catalog and they really mess with your stuff. That's when you shoot up. And that's like the overnight success, they say. It ain't overnight. It's a grind. When people ask me advice, how do I grow on social media? I'm just like, bro, I don't think I have any useful advice. The only advice I can give is like keep putting content out there and trying a bunch of stuff. And I like the comment of being authentic, but it makes it harder. Like people say controversy sells whatever on social media. It's like, I used to think that too. I was just naturally controversial. I would say, in some of the things I believe, but I made a video about microwaves. That's what blew up the account. A video about microwaves. It's like safe is always better. With the broad appeal where you're teaching, there's a hunger for learning. So if you can teach someone something that they wouldn't know, like hacks, tips, tricks, those are useful too. What's more important, what you say or how you say it? I would say both. I know it's not the answer you want to hear, Londell, but both. How you say it is important because when it comes to content, like the pacing matters. The pacing matters. And that's essentially how you're saying it. What you say is also really important. What you say is the idea. The idea is the limiting thing. When Mr. Beast talks about the idea is the most important thing, that's what he's talking about. Like an idea that has broad appeal or can hook someone and keep someone's interest. That's the most important thing. Get the idea right. And then getting full potential out of that idea is dependent on how you say it. So it's a two-part. Sometimes afraid of stating my opinion. I'm learning to be vocal online in real life. Yeah, real life is a little weird because you have to deal with people. Like you go to work and you have to work with them, right? And some people just aren't made for like honesty. You can have a bit of controversy, but I think people are tired of toxic and angry. But I don't know. Anger can be righteous. If it's righteous anger, I think you can get away with it. In fact, I think it's welcomed when you can point out something that's going on in the world that everyone feels, but no one's willing to say or is afraid to say. But I think you make a good point here that controversy for the sake of controversy, when you don't actually believe it, I think people can tell. People can smell it now. But if it's controversy because it's legitimate, then people resonate with that because they can sense that you mean it, that you feel it. I think people are getting to the point where we can tell whether or not someone's authentic. So if they're controversial, but they're authentic, people can get behind it.